Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about some Pulmosan fear knots, as they're called. Now, these are masks. Officially, their name isn't Fear Knot. That was one small company that resold these masks, and it may have actually eventually become Pulmosan, although I doubt that. But we call them Fear Knots because that's the example of one of these shown on Johannes Muller's website has Fear Knot um, on the box, and rather than say GR200 or GR2000 or whatever, since there's so many subvariants of these, we just call them Fear Knots. And yeah, I've had a couple of requests for this video, and I hope that you guys enjoy. It's been a long day here, and I'm a little bit incoherent, but I mean that's life sometimes, you know. So. Alright, so anyway, like I said, these are Fear Knots, and they were made. Well, these particular examples are based on Pulmosan's flagship mask, or their half mask, really. Which is, there's a particular patent number for it, but basically what you have is you have this rubber cup, you have a metal mechanism sitting inside of that, and you have two straps. And that basic design has, they originally filed the patent for it in 1925, and it didn't get approved until 1929 for some reason. Comes in a couple different variants. A lot of them will have flapper valves. And the Fear Knot is basically, you take one of those masks and you add goggles to it. It's not that different from the covers masks, where they decided to append goggles to them, although the Pulmosan was a little bit more unorthodox in that they added the goggles directly onto it. Now, what's really lucky here is that I can actually, all of these masks that I'm going to show you, the Fear Knots, are from a 4-year period of time. And I can tell you that because usually on these Pulmosan masks, they will say the patent number here. They'll say Pulmosan, where Pulmosan was at that time, and then they'll say the patent. However, all three of these, say patent pending right there. Which makes it really easy, because it's, well, if it's a pending patent, they have to have filed for it, but not have approval. So, they filed in 1925, they got approval in 1929. There you go. But enough about the backstory for these. I guess I'll kind of go through them. And I'm going to start with actually my best example. Now, this is type GR200. They used to just mass produce these boxes and write numbers in. And then it doesn't say what it's for protection against, but that's usually just nuisance dust. Show off the rest of the box here, because this is probably like my favorite cardboard box I've ever had with an industrial, and Pulmosans are consistently like this. I probably have a dozen of these. So popping this open, see if I can mannequin this for you guys, give you something to look at. This one also has some extra filters and anti-fog stick, or anti-mist pencil, as they call it. This is really the best example that I have. None of the rubber's cracking. It really does pull a lot from covers. It does not have indentations to hold water in the lenses, unfortunately, because that was probably covered by patent, but I wouldn't be surprised if they considered adding that. You can see it's fairly simple. It'll say on the side, or this dust-proof respirator, because that's what this is, standard dust mask. Nice two-strap system. I've taken to calling masks like this kind of a 1.5 mask. No, it wouldn't be a 1.5, it would be a 0.75, excuse me. Because it's not a half mask, because it has more, you know, obviously there's more than a half mask. But it's not really a full gas mask yet. It's kind of a little bit smaller and more compact. These are kind of the same kind of the similar to this, where you have just a mouthpiece, but you also have a full-size canister. And so it gets into this gray area of what's a half mask and what's a full mask at this point, because they're built out. They're really built out sometimes. But it's not, you don't get a lot of face protection to it. Anyway, this one, as I said, dated patent pending. Fairly simple design. There's that. This one, interestingly, does not have an exhale valve, which is actually the only difference between it and the one on Bart Wilkes' site. There's nothing down here. And that just kind of shows you how weak this filter was. Now, the nice thing about this is that you could actually just pop this on there if you wanted, or even pop this hose mechanism. I'm not going to do that because the other two face pieces that I have are so delicate that doing something like that would probably make them start to crack apart. And given that there's 5 of these, as far as I know, conveniently 3 are here, and the other 2 are not here. Those are the ones on Johannes Muller's and Bart Wilkes' site. Although, obviously, they're not with him now. The next face piece that I have is kind of probably one of the weirdest ones that I have. I don't know if it's going to sit on the mannequin. Probably not. But it's basically the same. It's got this nice green rubber to it, though, and I've never really seen this mixture of rubber before in any other industrial. And the only thing... Actually, there's a set of gloves over here. It kind of reminds me a lot of some of the MSA Ultra Views, because they'll have very distinct aquamarine blue or very nice yellow colors. But I've never seen an industrial from the 20s this color. And the only thing that it really reminds me of is these nice Solvex gloves that I have. It's actually pretty close. Now, to cover the mechanism for this one, fairly simple. You just screw in a standard canister filter. You have an exhale here. These straps are not present, so someone at some point has cut a tire inner tube like this. And I've tried mounting it to the mannequin, but between the damage to the rubber, where it's all torn through so this won't sit properly, and the fact that this is just jank as all shit, I haven't been able to mount it properly yet, and I don't feel comfortable doing that, because this is not the kind of thing I want to put any strain on. Now, the last mask that I have is actually in decent shape. And some of you may recognize it from Fire Furry JP. God almighty. See if I can get this tightened up a little bit. Now, this strap is not original. Obviously, I've improvised with some plastic here and some snap. The one to this side is. This one, same thing as the other, says patent pending on the nose cup. Lower strap is missing. Goes back to the gray rubber, which is a lot more flexible. But what you can see here that's really interesting is obviously it's come with an ammonia filter, which is labeled Pulmosan. And it has a flapper valve. So this one is actually really neat because I did find it in person. I was at a flea market down in Atlanta, and somehow this was on the table for $50. And I don't know. I mean, shit happens if you get out there, guys. You just got to get off your, get out from behind the computer. Anyway, fairly standard face piece, really. Nothing too specific. The main thing here is the addition of the hose, which again goes to a standard canister. Now, the interesting thing about this one, I love these little local safety companies that you can find. This is labeled the Martin Safety Co. In Toledo, Ohio. But actually, the box also says Victor M. Martin Safety Co. And I haven't looked into them at all, but I assume they're similar to LaFrance or Industrial Safety Co. or like 1,000 of the other really small industrial safety companies that resold stuff on a local level, which is commendable. I mean, it's something to do with your life, But yeah, that's really... Sorry if this video was more kind of me jammering on about other things. There's just... These face pieces are so incredibly simple that there's not a lot to talk about. I mean, that's the inside. The air comes in, the air goes out. There's obviously some variation to these. And eventually, when I get them all in the same place, I'm going to do a larger video on just this face piece pattern, the half mask pattern, because it shows really incredible variety. Um, I don't actually have any of my, do I? No, I don't have any of my other chin types here, but I mean, this is the same base. If I take this hood and I flip it out, it's a little bit larger, but it's fundamentally the same design. I actually have another hood. By the way, if you collect gas masks, don't smoke, because it fucking pisses me off when I buy like $300 worth of hoods from someone, and I get them and they all smell like cigarette smoke. It's disrespectful to the masks. Anyway, this hood over here, which shows another very nice rubber variation to this pattern, is actually this nice orange rubber, but you can see it actually says Pulmosan safety there. I hope you can see it. And then over here, ooh, actually this one says patent pending. Let's see, can you see that right there? That says patent pending. So this one is from that same time period. This one, let me check this again because I didn't look at that on here. Is not labeled at all. That's alright, it's not following the same pattern. Do I have anything else on this shelf from them? Ah, yes, the foreskin belt. So this one is actually from a later date. This is the Boyer Campbell one that I already did a video on. It says Boyer Campbell, which was kind of like Sears. They distributed things. And again, very similar, very simple. This one has an exhale. But there is your patent date. Right there. And this one's later. I mean, they literally made these things into like the 40s or 50s. There's an incredible variety of them. They were used in shipyards and cow milking and just about anything you could need a mask for. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry if I rambled on. This is a damn long video for me, but I did try to cover like 6 masks, kind of. Whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching.